Hello and welcome to Into the Dragon Den with me, King of Dragons. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, welcome to Into the Dragon Den, a series where I talk about whatever's on my mind. It can be about comic books, movies, action figures, comics, hockey, baseball, just whatever comes into my mind. That's what this series is all about. And welcome to all my Dragon Knights who have been keeping up with this series for quite some time. I do know that I do this quite infrequently, and I should be a little more consistent with Into the Dragon Den, because this is a way to actually get to know the real person behind King of Dragons 5000, and I do apologize about that. The main reason I've had some hard time doing some Into the Dragon Den videos, as well as other videos, is the NHL Playoffs have been going on, and as everybody knows, I am a Golden Knights fan, and unfortunately the Golden Knights were eliminated from the playoffs by none other than Edmonton. But yeah, unfortunately the Golden Knights at this point did get knocked out, and my interest in the NHL playoffs has wound down just a little bit. I still have to keep track of it because I do have a bet with one of my coworkers that should the Dallas Stars go to the Stanley Cup Finals, I have to show up to work wearing a Dallas Stars jersey, which if they do, I intend to fully make good on my promise, because a promise from King of Dragon is sacred. I will never break a promise, and I will never back down from a bet that I made, because that's just who I am. So, how has everyone been? And like I said, I do apologize that I haven't been doing Into the Dragon Den as frequently, and a lot of people notice that my reviews have also been a little bit slow, and as I already alluded to, that was because of the NHL playoffs and the Knights were involved with that. But because the Golden Knights are no longer involved in the NHL playoffs, I will have more time to do more reviews and unboxings. And part of the reason I wasn't able to do as many videos as I wanted to is because a lot of the time, playoffs are really stressful for fans, and yeah, it did take a lot of my time, especially when games would go into overtime and I was really monitoring the games. So yeah, that's where a lot of my time went, and I just didn't really have time to get up here and record, and I was exhausted after watching and getting stressed out. So yeah, I do apologize about that. I know a lot of my viewers aren't really sports fans, and that's pretty apparent because every time I talk about sports, you guys seem to tune me out. So yeah, that sports talk is gonna go away until September. So we're gonna go back to our usual things, which we talk about action figures, movies, and other really nerd culture things. And one thing I really wanted to talk about was there were two recent trailers that came out, and people wanted to know my opinions on them. And I'ma just say this, Ironheart I could care less about. I never liked the character. I think the idea of Ironheart is good. It's just executed by people who have no idea how to write good characters. Especially if you read the comics that Riri Williams is from. She's basically telling a teacher to oppress her so that she can do better, when the teacher is like, you can be anything you want to be. Just set your mind to it and be that. And she's like, no, you gotta tell me that I can't do this, and you gotta hold me down. And it's like, who writes this? Like, honestly, who wrote that? And if they did, are they still working in comics? Because I think they should be fired. Because that's not how you write a compelling character. And then the new Superman trailer dropped, and my thoughts on the Superman trailer are kind of, I don't like it. That's it. I don't like the direction of this new Superman movie, and this trailer did not get me excited for the movie. If anything, it kind of made me realize this movie's not for me. It honestly is not for me, and that's perfectly fine. I really did enjoy Man of Steel. Superman Returns I still think is a terrible movie, and it doesn't hold up over time. If anything, I think Superman Returns gets worse with time. And I know Brendan Ruth, whatever his last name is, I've heard it said both ways. He was never my favorite Superman, and I know the CW tried to redeem him, but I just could never get behind him as Superman. And then Superman and Lois was a good show. I did keep up with it. It was just a shame that they ended that series because James Gunn wanted to do Superman. and DC has this thing where they don't want to have more than one Superman or Batman at a time, so they want to wrap up things as soon as possible. That's kind of stupid, isn't it? That you don't want to have multiple franchises out there. Like, why don't you want to have two different Superman? It's not like people are going to confuse the two. That was always stupid. They killed off the Arrowverse Deadshot because Deadshot was going to be in Suicide Squad, and it's like, yeah, they're the same character by name, but they're not the same character by the character traits. That always confused me. DC has that tendency to do that, and it's really annoying, to be quite honest. Especially when they were in Smallville and they had the no tights, no flight rule for Clark Kent, so yeah, Warner Brothers has always been strange when it's come to their TV shows and movies. I just never understood. But yeah, this new Superman movie, originally titled Superman Legacy, I'm not a fan of it. It doesn't really appeal to me. And the first trailer opens up with Superman yelling at Lois? I mean, what kind of Superman gets upset about questions he's being grilled? He's not really even being grilled. She's just asking him, like, questions that any viable journalist would ask a godlike being. Like, are you acting on yourself or on the behalf of the government? Stop asking me questions! I can't handle it! I'm doing things on my own! Does that really sound like Superman? It honestly doesn't to me. And I think one thing that also annoys me about this Superman trailer is they went back and used the John Williams Superman score. It's not that I don't like the John Williams Superman score. I think that's a really iconic theme, and it's just that they keep falling back to the John Williams Superman score every time they make a Superman. Make something new. I think that's one thing I gotta give Zack Snyder credit for, and Junkie, who did that? Hans Zimmer? Hans Zimmer did the Man of Steel soundtrack, and he did a great job, and it doesn't sound anything like the John Williams score, and I appreciate that because it's a different Superman. But then when they did the Justice League, Superman got the Superman theme again, and that was really confusing because he was never associated with that theme. And then they brought the Danny Elfman score in to do Batman, and Batman wasn't associated with that. And then I think in Black Adam they also went back to the John Williams score. Just move past it already. Like, I get it, it's an iconic Superman theme, but make something new. There's nothing wrong with trying something new when it comes to Superman. And I know a lot of people will say, it's Superman, it's so iconic. Yes, it is, but the Danny Elfman Batman score is probably just as iconic, but they don't use it for every Batman. If you want proof, the only Batman that used the Danny Elfman score originally was the Tim Burton Batman and later the Joel Schumacher Batman. That's it. When they did the Dark Knight trilogy, they did not use the Danny Elfman score. They got Hans Zimmer once again to make the Dark Knight soundtrack, to do all that music, and it was good. Why can't they do that anymore? Even when they did the Batman does not use the Danny Elfman score. The Batman has its own unique soundtrack, and that gives it its own unique feel. They need to start doing that with Superman, otherwise everybody's gonna think of Christopher Reeve. It's not that Christopher Reeve was a bad Superman, he was a really good Superman, but every time you hear that Superman theme, you think Christopher Reeve. Every time I hear the Man of Steel Superman title, I think of Henry Cavill. And now when I hear the new Superman theme that's kind of sort of sounds like the John Williams score that leads into the John Williams score, I don't think of David Cornswell as Superman, I think of Christopher Reeve. You gotta differentiate these superheroes by music. Otherwise, everybody's just gonna keep comparing this new Superman to Christopher Reeve because they hear the Superman theme and they're like, oh, it's Christopher Reeve. It's not Christopher Reeve. Why don't we move past the Superman theme? That's always boggled my mind, that it's one thing we can never move past, and I know a lot of people are like telling Snyder fans to move on and forget about it. You guys have been using the same Superman song for 40 years now. It's time to get something new. Give this Superman his own feel. Don't make him feel like the Christopher Reeve for nostalgia brownie points, because if you're aiming for brownie points with nostalgia, it has a limited runtime and you're gonna have to do something new eventually. And yeah, it's just I really don't like this new Superman trailer, and I think the best part of the trailer was Crypto punching somebody across the room. Everything about the movie feels lesser than Man of Steel. The cinematography feels off, the color saturation feels too saturated, like everything is too bright. With Zack Snyder, everybody complaining it was too dark. It was okay. It wasn't too dark. They could have brightened it up a little bit. But this feels like they turned the brightness up to 11. It's too bright. There's a lot of things wrong with what they're trying to do with this Superman, and I'm just not excited for it. I mean, I'm probably going to go see it eventually, but I'm not going to see it day one, and excuse me. My hopes for it are pretty low. It's gonna do good. People who want to go see it are gonna go see it. People who are not gonna go see it, they're not gonna bother to go see it. So whether or not this will be a hit, who knows? But I know Warner Brothers needs this to be a hit because they have a whole DC universe planned out. And if the first movie in this planned universe fails, that means the universe crumbles in on itself. They already have plans for like a Batman, Supergirl, Peacemaker already is filmed, and they're going to release that, which that's kind of stupid. Is it part of the old continuity? Is it the new continuity? Who knows? I don't. I really don't know what DC is doing. But yeah, those are just my thoughts for this episode. What do you guys think? Am I being a little too judgmental on the Superman movie, or do you think I'm right to be weary and a little bit unexcited for it? Let me know how you guys feel down in the comments, and if you made this far into the video, type Superman in the comments, because I really want to know if I'm being too harsh or if I could be harsher. If anything, let me know what you guys think, and as always, come back to the channel for more Into the Dragon Den, where I'll talk more about whatever is on my mind, and hopefully we can find something that we can engage and talk about. So until next time, thank you for joining me on this episode of Into the Dragon Den, and I'll see you guys next time.